Today, there is an interesting story about the adventure of the missing phone. In a place where many people come and go every day, there was a hard-working man. He had a really tough day at work. It was so hard that he needed help from the police. That's how tough it was. After everything was over, he went to check his phone. But oh no, his phone was not there. He needed his phone. It had all his friends' numbers, his family's pictures, and even some games he liked to play. He thought and thought, where did I last see my phone? Then he remembered. It was in a special place where only people who worked there could go. Someone who works with me must have taken it, he thought. He felt sad and a little angry. Why would someone take his phone? He wished he could find his phone like in a treasure hunt. Then he got a smart idea. He went to his computer and used something called Google to find his phone. Google is very clever. It can show you where things are on a map. And guess what? He found out where his phone was. It was in a building not very far away. He felt brave and decided to get his phone back. He called the police for help and went to the building. There he met a nice lady who helped him find the right place. He stood outside the door and called the police again, but this time very loudly. He wanted the person who took his phone to hear him. Soon, the door opened, and there was a neighbor. The neighbor looked surprised to see him. The man who took the phone knew he couldn't hide it anymore. This story is like a big adventure. It shows us that if we think smart and are brave, we can solve problems, even big ones. It's like being a detective and finding clues to solve a mystery. And in the end, we can make things right again. In the second story, you will read about the man and his stolen phone. Once, there was a man who worked at a very special place. He was proud of his job. One day, something bad happened. Someone took his phone from a place where only people who worked there could go. This made the man very sad and upset. But he had a clever idea. He used an app to find out where his phone was. It showed him that his phone was in a building not too far away. He thought, I need to get my phone back. When he got to the building, he met a lady who seemed to know something about his phone. She had a little smile and looked like she didn't like the person who had his phone. The man felt that she wanted to help him. He was brave and knocked on the door where his phone was, really loudly. He shouted, I work at this important place, and someone here took my phone. The police are coming. Please give it back. Suddenly, the door opened, and a woman he had never seen before gave him his phone. She looked a bit scared and angry. The man thought she might not be the thief, but she knew who was. He felt a little sorry for her, but was happy to get his phone back. After that, the man went and thanked the helpful lady. He also took pictures of the names on the mailboxes, so he could remember who lived there. He felt like he had done something really brave and clever. He went home and told his friends about his adventure. They were very impressed. He also told his boss and the people he worked with what had happened. He showed them where he found his phone and the names he saw. He wanted to make sure that the person who took his phone would not do it again. The man shared his story with many people. They all laughed and were happy that he got his phone back. They thought the thief would never steal again because they would be afraid of getting caught. This story teaches us that sometimes we have to be brave and smart to solve problems. The man didn't give up, and he found a way to get his phone back. He also made sure that everyone knew what happened, so they could be careful too. Another story is of Sushi and the missing cheese. In a house where two people loved each other, there was a 40-year-old woman and her partner. They both did different things around the house. The woman liked to clean and fix things, and her partner liked to cook. One night, her partner wanted to make mac and cheese for dinner. The woman was working from home and checked the fridge. She saw that they were out of cheese. She told her partner, but he didn't believe her. The woman got a little frustrated. She knew there was no cheese, but her partner kept asking if she was sure. So she decided to do something a little bit sneaky. She ordered sushi for herself, knowing that there was no cheese for the mac and cheese. When her partner came home, he looked in the fridge and saw that there was no cheese. He decided to make noodles instead. Just then, the sushi delivery arrived. The woman enjoyed her sushi, and her partner realized she was right about the cheese. This story is a bit funny, and shows how sometimes we need to trust what others say. The woman knew there was no cheese, but her partner didn't believe her. In the end, she had a delicious sushi dinner, and maybe her partner learned to trust her more. Another story is about the hot sauce sandwich trick. In an office where everyone worked together, there was a mystery. Someone was taking lunches that didn't belong to them. This made many people unhappy, especially one person whose sandwiches kept disappearing. This person loved making tasty sandwiches for lunch, but when his sandwiches kept getting stolen, he felt sad and frustrated. So he came up with a smart plan. He decided to make a very special sandwich with the hottest hot sauce he could find. This hot sauce was so spicy that even people who loved spicy food couldn't eat it. He carefully made his sandwich and put it in the fridge at work, just like always. Then he waited to see what would happen. It wasn't long before he heard someone in the office start yelling, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" over and over. It was someone who never seemed to like him much. This person was trying to drink lots of water to stop the burning from the hot sauce. It was clear to everyone that this was the lunch thief. After that day, no one's lunch was stolen again. The person who came up with the hot sauce plan felt a little sneaky, but also proud. He had solved the problem in a funny and clever way. This story teaches us that sometimes you need to be a bit creative to solve problems. It's important to stand up for yourself, especially when someone is not being fair. And sometimes, a little bit of cleverness can make a big difference. Next story is about the birthday surprise for rude customers. In a busy Italian restaurant, there was a tradition. If it was your birthday, you would get a free chocolate cake and a song. Most of the time, a very good singer would sing the birthday song. But there was a funny twist if a customer was not nice. If a customer was rude or mean, they would get a different singer. His name was Jose, and he was not a good singer. But Joe thought it was funny to sing badly for people who were not nice. He would sing off-key and very loudly, making the song sound funny. Everyone working at the restaurant knew about this. They would watch as Jose sang for the rude customers. It was always funny to see the customer's surprised face when Jose sang. This happened especially on busy nights like Fridays and Saturdays. This story shows us that it's always good to be nice to people, especially those who serve us food or help us. Being rude might lead to unexpected and funny surprises, like a birthday song from Jose. Another story is about Paul and the problem of bed bugs. Paul was excited to move into his new studio apartment in a large building. It was a perfect place, close to his work and friends. But soon after he moved in, he discovered a big problem: bed bugs. Paul was really bothered by the bed bugs. He quickly told the landlord about it, hoping for a solution. But the landlord didn't help. He said maybe Paul had brought the bugs with him, which Paul knew wasn't true. Feeling upset but determined, Paul started talking to his neighbors in the building. He found out that many of them also had problems with bed bugs. The landlord had been ignoring everyone's complaints. Paul decided to take action. He learned that they could report this problem to the city inspectors. He gathered all the information on how to report and shared it with his neighbors, encouraging them to do the same. Because of Paul's efforts, many neighbors reported the bed bugs. Soon, the city inspectors came to investigate. Paul showed them his apartment and the bed bugs. The inspectors took the problem seriously. She was young, but very good at her job. She looked around and told the landlord that they needed to fix the bedbug problem. The landlord tried to use his usual bug person, but it didn't work. The bugs were still there. The inspector was very serious about her job. She told the landlord that they needed to do big repairs, like taking out the carpet and parts of the flooring. She found out that the problem was in many apartments, not just Paul's. This meant the landlord had to spend a lot of money to fix everything. Paul gave the inspector some helpful tips. He told her about other problems in the building, like a broken elevator and old fire extinguishers. The inspector was very thankful for the information. She even found out that the landlord hadn't had a proper inspection for the building in years. The landlord didn't want to help at first and tried to avoid the inspector. But she was smart and kept coming back to check everything. She even heard the building manager saying mean things about her. But she didn't give up. In the end, The landlord had to do all the repairs the inspector said. This was good for everyone living in the building because it made their homes safer and cleaner. Paul felt happy that he helped make a big change. This story shows us that sometimes one person can make a big difference. Paul didn't just think about himself, he thought about his neighbors too. And because he was brave and spoke up, the whole building became a better place to live. Next story is of the petty powers of a bridesmaid. There was a wedding coming up, and one of the bridesmaids had a special job. Her college roommate was getting married, and she was excited to be part of the big day. But there was a problem. The best man's girlfriend was being very rude and acting like she was better than everyone else. This bridesmaid had a clever idea. She lived in New York City and knew a lot about fancy things. She decided to use this knowledge to make the rude girlfriend feel less important. Every time the girlfriend said something mean or bragged, the bridesmaid would talk about even fancier things. She made up stories about her own wedding plans, saying it would be in Italy and very expensive. She talked about fancy dresses and jewelry, even though it wasn't true. The girlfriend started to feel less confident and stopped being so rude. The wedding turned out to be beautiful, and everyone had a great time. The bridesmaid felt happy that she could help her friend have a perfect day. She used her imagination to make the rude girlfriend quiet, and it worked. This story teaches us that sometimes you don't have to be mean to stop someone from being mean. You can use your imagination and cleverness to make things better. And in the end, the wedding was a happy and beautiful celebration, just like it should be. Next story is about the smile request and a clever response. In a busy office, there was a woman who worked very hard. She was serious about her job and always focused on her work. But there was one thing that bothered her. People often told her to smile more, even when she was just doing her job. One day, a man came to her while she was busy with some documents. He looked at her and asked, "Did someone make you mad?" She didn't answer because she was concentrating on her work. But the man kept asking, "Why aren't you smiling?" The woman usually had a polite reply, but this time she was tired of the same question. She decided to say something different. She told the man, "My grandmother died. Do I still have to smile for you?" The man was surprised and started to feel embarrassed. He apologized and said he didn't know. The woman hoped that he learned a lesson that day. She wanted him to understand that not everyone has to smile just because someone asks them to. This story shows us that it's okay to be serious sometimes. And it's important to remember that we don't always know what someone else is going through. Just like the woman in the office, we can stand up for ourselves in a polite yet clever way. Now let's turn to the alarm clock challenge. In a cozy home, there was a husband and wife who loved each other very much. The wife, however, had a hard time waking up in the morning. Every day her alarm would go off, and she would press the snooze button over and over again. This made it hard for her husband to sleep. The husband tried to talk to her about it. He asked her to try getting up with the first alarm or to set it for a later time. She would try for a little while, but soon she would go back to hitting the snooze button. One night, the husband had a funny idea. When he got up during the night, he would move her phone to a different place. Sometimes he put it in the bathroom, sometimes under the bed, and sometimes even in another room. When the alarm went off in the morning, the wife had to get out of bed to find her phone. She knew her husband was moving it, but she couldn't stay mad at him. She knew it was his way of helping her wake up, and the husband felt a little bit proud of his clever solution. This story is a fun reminder that sometimes we need a little help to change our habits. And even in a loving relationship, we can find playful ways to help each other. Next story is a story of patience pays at the airport. A couple had just returned from a wonderful trip to Italy. They were at the Rome airport, getting ready to fly back to the United States. They needed to get a COVID test before their flight. The girlfriend was very organized and suggested they get tested the day before to avoid stress. When they arrived at the testing center, it was busy. There was a group of loud men in front of them, making a lot of noise. They were shouting and not wearing their masks properly. This made the staff at the testing center very stressed. The couple waited patiently. They were polite to the staff and even spoke a little Italian to them. Because they were kind and understanding, the staff decided to help them quickly. The loud men, however, had to wait longer. The staff took their time with them because of their rude behavior. The couple could see that being polite and patient helped them get their test results faster. In the end, the couple got their test results and went back to their hotel. They were happy they had been kind to the staff. This story shows us that being patient and respectful can make difficult situations much easier. And sometimes being rude can make things take longer. These stories are about being clever, kind, and patient. They teach us that we can find smart ways to solve problems and make things better. Whether it's dealing with people who are rude or finding a funny way to wake up in the morning, we can always find a solution. And when we are patient and kind, we often find that things go more smoothly. Just like the woman who stood up for herself, the husband who helped his wife wake up, and the couple who were patient at the airport.